Okay, so back to our definition. So a vertex of an angle is the point where the two sides of an angle meet. So we can see this angle up here, the two sides, that top side and the bottom side, they meet right here. That is the vertex, the corner where they meet. That's where the two sides meet. An acute angle is an angle with a measure, who thinks they know it? Less than 90 degrees, very good. So an example of acute angle would be nice and cute. A cute little angle. It's little. So a right angle is an angle with a measure
90 degrees.
Equal to 90 degrees. Very good. So it is exactly 90 degrees. Lots of acute angles. You could have 35 degrees, you could have 10 degrees, you could have 75, you could have 89 degrees. Only one right angle. It has to be 90 degrees. How do we know for a fact that an angle is 90 degrees, Paisley? There's going to be a little square there. If you ever see an angle like that, you're not guessing, you know for a fact it's 90 degrees. If you don't see that square, you cannot assume it's 90 degrees. You can't say, well, it looks like it. You have to know that it's 90 degrees. And as you go into geometry in 8th grade, you will be finding out all kinds of ways to know that it's 90 degrees. Okay. Right now, we're just going through the basic definitions. So an obtuse angle is an angle with a measure, good, with a measure greater than 90 degrees. So greater than 90 degrees. So acute is smaller, the right angle is exactly, and the obtuse is bigger. So an example of an obtuse angle would look something like that. So that top side is going to be bigger than that 90 degrees. Leah. It's called a straight angle. So it wouldn't be just like a right angle isn't acute or obtuse. A straight angle is just a straight angle. It's not obtuse. Okay. So the obtuse in the Math 6 book, it says it's between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So that 180 is just the straight line. We're good if I erase it? Okay. All right. So to measure an angle with a protractor, position the vertex of the angle at the center of the protractor. So a lot of protractors will have a little circle that you could actually put your pencil on and line it up. And most protractors will have this line here that you want to line up that line with. So you're going to put the vertex where that circle is, and you're going to line it up. And remember what I said, look at your angle. Here is the bottom of our angle going this way. It's pointing to the 0 on the outside. So where am I going to start counting? on the outside. A lot of times, our angles don't go all the way up to the numbers. So you're going to have to kind of do this dotted line up and say, okay, it hits right here. So then you're going to count up. 40 is my nearest 10, and then these little hash lines we count as ones. So 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So this angle is 45 degrees. So you have to line up the little circle hole on your protractor with the vertex. Follow the line of the angle to the 0, whether it's on the inside or the outside. Count up to where the top line of the angle would hit the protractor. You're going to have to count those lines as ones. So if the angle doesn't reach the degree measures, just visually extend the angle, note the dotted line. You could also use your pencil and just kind of draw it up. Sometimes it's easier to draw it up. Sometimes you can just count it yourself. So we talked about our measure is 45 degrees. What would its classification be, Ethan? What would its classification be? That's why it's important that we listen and not be talking at our table groups. Leah? Yeah, it would be acute because it is less than 90 degrees. So it's going to ask for your angle measure. It is very important we put our degree symbol. That is needed. It is necessary. On the test, if you don't have a degree symbol, I will not give you credit. You have to tell me it is a degree measurement. Otherwise, I might think you're talking about 45 puppies, and that just doesn't make sense. You have to put the degree measurement. Then when it asks you to classify, you're thinking, is it acute? Is it right? Is it obtuse? So acute is going to be a number smaller, less than 90. Right is going to be exactly 90. And obtuse is going to be greater than 90. We are not doing any that are greater than 180 in the subjective. So we're just worrying about from 1 degree to 179 degrees. Okay, so they're going to be somewhere in there. Now, Naveen, can you please close the door? They're being a little loud. What I have found when we work with protractors is sometimes it's hard to be completely exact. When we look at this and we visually extend it, sometimes we might see it a little wrong and call it 44 degrees or 46 degrees. And the teacher writes down 45 degrees. I give just a little smidge of leniency with the degrees. So if you're 1 off, I'll count it. If you tell me that's 41 degrees, I'll say, yeah, no, it's obviously not 41 degrees. You need to be a whole lot closer. So you need to really pay attention to where that angle line is going up so you can count it correctly. Yes?
What if it's like trying to classify what it is, and it's like an 89 degree angle that you write a right angle? Would you so much right?
No, because an 89 degree angle is not a perfect 90 degree angle. I do not believe Mr. Schultz is going to be that tricky. Okay, so we shouldn't have any that are that close. I would probably talk to him if he did that. If it's 90 degrees, it's going to be 90 degrees. If it's acute, it's going to be noticeably less than. Okay. Any questions on how to use the protractor? It's been a while since we've used protractors. Any questions on how to use it? We're feeling confident. Colin?
We use the protractor to the back of the content.
So protractors were on our supply list. I do recognize that there may have been somebody that forgot to buy it. I do have a classroom set that must remain in the classroom. It cannot go home for homework. If you do not have your own protractor, you need to tell mom and dad, hey, I need to buy a protractor. Just like you need a calculator, you need a protractor. Buy it once and it'll last with you for all of middle school and high school. Okay? So you need to have a protractor. So if you don't have one today, you may borrow one from my tub, but it must go back into my tub. It does not leave this classroom, and we must be responsible with them and make sure they get returned where they are supposed to be. If you have your own, use your own. Any other questions? Okay, so with that, we're going to tell our friends at home that we hope you are well and we hope to see you soon.